Hey, welcome Vincent Ebarb to WeHo West Hollywood Channel 36. And my name is Laraine Stuart, and I welcome you to our cable show today. Such a pleasure.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh, yeah, but the subject, people don't even know. Our subject today will be a bounty hunter. And people never even heard of this before. And this is why I wanted to get you on the show so we could do a lot of explaining. And it's a very unique profession, very different in everything. And what made you get into something like that?
Well, a neighbor of mine got me into it. I was in my mid-20s and I'd failed out of college, just moved back from Hawaii where I was working at a golf course, and it sounded like something fun to do. And it turned into about a 20-year profession for me.
Uh, um, I know they say the definition of a bounty hunter, you're an investigator and uh, you work with the police without them. One thing I did read is that you hunt people if they didn't pay their bail. You go after them.
Yes, and and it's not for payment. What it is once a person that's bailed out of jail, if they ever miss their court date,
Yes.
that bondsman has to pay back the full amount of the bond to the court. And to be competitive in the bail bonds business, the clients we deal with typically didn't have the collateral to cover their bonds.
Uh-huh.
And if we would only bail out people that had collateral, nobody would ever get bailed out. I mean, that's just the facts of it, especially the bail schedule in California, which is highest in the nation. Your average bail amount right now, I believe, is about $100,000. So for people to have $100,000 of equity and, in their home. So that's why the chase starts. It's to save the bondsman from paying that whole amount of money back to the courts. And we
You go after them. You
go after them. Go after them. Like you said, we investigate, we arrest, we take them back to the county jail or whatever jail we took them out of.
Uh-huh.
And we have the authority to force entry into a home without a search warrant.
Oh, I know that. Really, I was surprised. I read that. Yeah.
Yes. And one time, I guess I do got a little story about that.
Yeah, tell me.
So I bailed this gal out on this is in Las Vegas, actually. I bailed this gal out, and her boyfriend, the day after I bailed her out, beat up some guy and beat him up, taped him up, took him out to our lake, and shot in the car 3 times to kill the guy.
Oh my God.
And he hit him, he shot him, but the guy didn't die. So there was a jogger out at the lake, and he heard the guy screaming in the car. And so once that happened and they knew who the guy, so the girlfriend's boyfriend was the guy that shot him.
Uh-huh.
So since I had a bond out on her, Metro, the local police department in Las Vegas, calls me and goes, "Hey, we need to find this guy and get him off the street." I mean, he was all over the news. And so they said, "Hey, I know you got his girlfriend out on bail. Can you go search some homes for me?" So I literally, and this is in the middle of the afternoon, I'm not out looking for people. I had no intentions of looking for anybody. So here I am in Vegas in the middle of summer. It's 107 degrees. And I have these shorts on. I don't even have shoes on. I have flip-flops on. I take my 45 caliber, which is a very large gun, and I stick it in the back of my pants, and here me and this search dog from Metro searched all these homes in Las Vegas where I would just say, "I think she's in there." And it was pretty bizarre. We did not find him. He did get caught on his own. The police did find him. We didn't find him that day. But I just thought it was pretty funny that here I am, me and the search dog.
Funny but dangerous.
Yes, and it was. And some of these houses were horrible. And one of the house I went to was a really large house, but it was really old, almost looked abandoned. And they must have had 5 pounds of marijuana. There was just like a pile of marijuana on the table. And, you know, back in the 90s, that was not a good, you're not allowed to have 5 pounds of marijuana like you are now. So yeah, that was pretty entertaining about just going into homes and using that power. But, you know, it happens. And most times it wasn't walking in. I mean, most times when we forced entry, it was forced entry. And it can be pretty, you know, it kind of got scary as I got older, you know, and when I was younger and I didn't have a family.
Right. It's bad for the family. They worry about you. Were you ever wounded? Were you ever shot?
No, I was never wounded. I was never shot. I never shot anybody. You know, mostly, you know, the nice part about being a bounty hunter, I guess, is, you know, nobody knows who we are. So we really try to sneak up on people and get them when they're unexpecting. Like one of my least favorite places, actually, but we, you know, most of my arrests have been at home. We're in people's homes where we had to force entry because you just, you know, you don't know the area. So we try to follow them out of their house and get them at like a 7-Eleven or, you know, I've arrested some people in some crazy places, you know, where they're like, holy, I arrested a guy in Phoenix in a car dealership. I drew down on this guy in a car dealership and I'm screaming, you know, get the F on the ground, you know, and I mean, everybody's like, who is this guy? And it was crazy. So I arrested him and I got him. I got like 20 employees, huge dealership. Well, I don't know the Phoenix area at all. I just flew out there, Southwest, got out there, driving all over town. And the whole time I'm talking to the defendant's mom. And I'm trying for her to give me some kind of information. And I mean, you name it, I was working her. So she said something religious to me. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going this angle. So I start, you know, really getting into her. I mean, you know, your son's, you know, and he was bad. He beat up his girl like 3 times. And that's why he was leaving, because he was going to face prison time at this time on your 3rd arrest in Nevada. And I think it's the same in California too.
But you're talking to the mother now.
I'm talking to the mother. I'm on her cell phone and I'm driving all, and I don't realize that I'm in all these different jurisdictions. I mean, you know, LA County is pretty big. You're in LA County. So when I call the police department, when I call the police department in LA County and I go, hey, this is Vince, I'm looking for this guy. I'm here. You know, just want to give you guys a heads up. They give you, it's called an event number, and they give you this event number. So you're right. So they know you're out there. You know, guys are waving around guns. You know what I mean? You need to let the police know. So I let them know in Phoenix, but I didn't realize at this time, I don't know what town I was in, that I was in a totally different town, and they had no idea. So they're calling the police. The police show up. I got this one guy that is yelling at me. He's like, oh, I'm, you know, some gang thing or whatever. And, you know, him and his buddies are going to get me. And I'm kind of a little nervous because I didn't take anybody with me. I'm all by myself. And I got this guy in cuffs, and he's sitting on the sidewalk, and I got 20 people screaming at me from this car dealership.
Oh my God.
And so I waited. The police figured it out. They're like, oh, you called here. You're here. You're cool. Go by. And I was gone with them. And then I thought the whole deal's over. I thought it was going to be easy after that. I'm like, oh, I got him. I'm out. I get to the airport.
Well,
Southwest is like, what are you doing? I go, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm taking this guy back. Here's the paperwork. I've done it on other airlines, but Southwest wasn't cool about that. So they're like, okay, you can take him on the next flight, but you got to take the handcuffs off this guy. You're scaring our customers. And so I said, okay. And I mean, I whispered in the guy's ear. I go, this is your shot, bud. If you think you can get away with, you think you can outrun me, let's go. What are you going to do? And he was nice as could be, was very apologetic for me having to actually come out there and get him. And it worked out fine. And we took him back. And it was funny because on the plane, he's talking to this gal the whole time. They're about the same age too. And, you know, I don't know if they were flirting. I really wasn't paying attention to, but I put him up, and I didn't care about Southwest Airlines' rules as soon as we touched ground. And I put the handcuffs on him right away because they let me bring it. And the girl looked at him like, what the heck? Who is this guy that I just hung out with for the past, you know, however it takes to fly from Phoenix to Vegas. But yeah, it was pretty
fun. You know, the best part of this, like I said, when people see you, they never think, hey, this is an investigator or anybody in the line that's a cop or anything like that because of your attire. What you wear. You look like an average person.
And that's
what's going on here.
that's my whole move too. And I know a lot of guys, as I got in, did it longer and more, I don't want to say younger guys, but they started wearing the whole vest. And I was like, I was never into that. I think
You never wore a vest?
So sometimes, but if I wore a vest, it would be underneath clothes.
Right.
They would, some of these guys wear these over vests that say agent on them and BEA, which is bail
Right.
enforcement. They're trying to pretend. So people, and I'd get calls, hey, the DEA. I'm like, you guys aren't the, and it's very misleading. And I don't think that's that good for the industry. I think
Okay.
so.
I want to ask you something. I read that not every state allows your profession, the bounty hunter. The limitations. I think Kentucky is one, Wisconsin, Florida,
Illinois.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
they don't allow it. I don't know why. They didn't give a reason. Why do you think?
they're no bail states, so they govern they do their own bail. Their bail system is that they manage it, they take the money, they have their own task force, which is that's horrible. The joke in Illinois is everybody's got a warrant and nobody ever goes back because it's not their money. I mean, bottom line, when it's your money on the line, you're finding that guy. When you get some of these, like we have task force agents, we'd have them in LA, and I'd work with them sometimes because we'd be looking for the same people. And that, I've worked with U.S. Marshals, many of them, but Illinois and those states you're naming, I'm not that familiar with those, but Illinois is very familiar with. My team's been out there many of times, and we've kidnapped many of people out of the state of Illinois. Drive as fast as we can to Missouri to get out of Chicago and fly out of the other states. But that's what you have to do. And one of my guys got arrested once, but they'd let him off on a misdemeanor charge for doing it.
Exciting but dangerous job. That's
yes.
For sure. I want to ask you, did you have to do special training for something like this to get in to become a bounty hunter?
No. No. When I started, because when I started in 1996, there was no rules for what you had to do. And during my career, I did do training that was mandated in California and Nevada, but I was grandfathered into it. But I felt like if I was going to do this, that I needed to have the same training, and it wouldn't hurt me. So I haven't taken that many hours, probably about 40 hours of training I spent, and I've been, qualified with my gun every year to carry a concealed weapon. So, but not much. And when I first started, it was funny. I mean, I worked for a company and I didn't even own a gun. They had the local gun at the office, and they're like, "Hey, go get this guy." And I took a gun, and me and my buddy, we went and handcuffed the guy and took him back to the office, and they took him to jail. And on the job training definitely is how I learned.
But body wise, your body had to be trained for something like that. I know you look like you're a lot of muscles there.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for a fight still at 52. I'm ready to go. Yeah, you have to be. You know what I mean? I played football in high school and in junior college. So I definitely am used to being aggressive, and it helped. And I think I was probably about 28, and it's Christmas Eve, and I go get this guy. This is in Vegas. This one was in Vegas. And I go get this guy in Henderson. He opens the door. Me and my partner are there. Slams the door on us. So we're like, oh God. All right. So we got a forced entry. Here we go. And it wasn't even a big deal, like the case was. So I don't even know why the guy was. So probably didn't want to go to jail on Christmas Eve, I guess. So anyway, I go shut the power off to the house, because I'm like, all right, maybe this will flush them out. They have no power. They'll see what's going on. So I flush the power. I turn the power off on the side of the house. Still doesn't come out. So we jump this huge block wall, and we go through the garage. Oh, the garage door is wide open. So he tried to make it seem like he ran out the backyard and he was gone. But I look at the backyard, and I mean, it's like a big slant hill and then a big block. Oh, it was like 40 foot. I'm like, this guy's not Spider-Man. He didn't get over this wall. So we go through the house, and we turn the power back on, and we see that the popcorn, the old popcorn ceiling roofs in the houses.
Right. I know.
So I see it on the ground, and I look up, there's the attic, and I'm like, oh, this guy's in the attic. So he heard us, and I'm like, I get up there. I forgot what I got on the chair or something. And I told the guy, I go, hey, I'm real scared because I can't see you. So I'm coming to get you. You're coming out. He's like, no, I'm not coming. So I was like, wait a minute. I'm not going, what am I going to do up in this attic with this guy? So I whole can of pepper spray. I just, he comes out coughing and choking. It was easy to get him out. So I'm thinking, okay, I got him. We get him in handcuffs, and my partner, I go, it's Christmas Eve, and he was married and I wasn't. I was single. I was like, go home. I'll take him to the jail. You don't got to worry about this. So we're driving down the street, and I stop at a light, and the guy, he had handcuffs behind his back. He proceeded to take the handcuffs behind his back. He was, he had good flexibility, and put him in front, and he's opening the door. And I'm like, oh no, this isn't happening. And I'm punching him. I'm trying to get him to stay. I'm doing whatever I can to get him to stay. And that didn't work. He kept running. And this is my football story. So I'm like, I haven't tackled a guy in 10 years like this, full sprint. And I'm yelling at him. So anyways, I stick him, I tackle him to the ground, and I got him handcuffed, and the police show up because it was a big commotion. Everybody's shopping on Christmas, probably getting their last minute, whatever they're doing. And they took him to jail for me, which was nice. And they were like, we got a little physical, and they're like, and they were funny. The cops were always funny because every time we get physical, they always tell the guy, we'll wait till you get to the jail to see what we're going to do to you. And I was like, oh, wow. So that's my tackle story. Yeah.
Oh, you could write a book. And how many years in the business did you put in doing this?
About 22, 23 years. And then I finally the laws changed dramatically in the past 5 years, where it really made it hard for us to bail people out of jail. I wasn't also a bounty hunter. I did own a company for 20 years, and it really made it hard to make a living. I mean, we used to advertise on Google. Google cut us off. The court stopped letting people out on bail except the most dangerous people, and it really made it really a lot more riskier than I chose to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to talk about what you went into. Not right now, though.
Okay.
But how did your family feel when you were doing this profession?
They were not against it. I outlasted them. They were in the business as well too. And I used to, yeah. And I used to laugh at my dad, and I was like, you just bail anybody out of jail. Who do you think I want to go to all these drug houses and bring all these people back to jail? He thought I could catch anybody. So it really kept me busy for a while. And, but yeah, they've been out of it a long time.
I mean, you could really write a book on
this. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, we've seen, and not just me. I mean, anybody that's been in the industry sees a lot of it, and it's different than being a policeman, because you do bring up a big aspect of this. We do the investigation, which takes all the time. The arrest takes 2 seconds to put your handcuffs on somebody typically, but the investigation takes a long time. You meet a lot of interesting people. You meet a lot of sad people.
Oh, of course.
And just really poor, in the children that you see. That's, oh man, there's definitely
pitiful, yeah, when the children get involved. But I want to ask you, did you ever have any feeling that you wanted to pursue and maybe be a detective or a cop, or go into that line to further your education in this field?
No, I really didn't. I really just, and I always thought those guys were the worst bounty hunters to me. If you really want to be a policeman, go be a policeman. And I just really didn't, I never had that desire. I didn't do any of this because I wanted to arrest people. I did this because I wanted to make a living.
Right.
And it was a very good living for a long time. And, you took your own risks to, make your own living. So I didn't. I really have never had any desire to be a policeman. They got a really tough job. They got a really hard job, and I really respect them a lot. That's for sure.
Well, like I said, I was doing some reading and everything, and which really amazed me, female bounty hunters. There was one that was very important. Lawrence Harvey, the actor, his daughter died. She was 35. She was a top bounty hunter. And she didn't like the celebrity status and wanted to be a bounty hunter and everything. Very lovely girl. And there's another one in Vegas now that does a lot of bounty hunting. But someone asked me, are there any women doing this? Well, like
Yes.
they're female cops and they're female
Yes.
detectives and everything like that.
Some of the best in some, I think some of the best in the industry, which is in Los Angeles. They're called lipstick bail bonds. And they're two sisters that are ex-LAPD cops, and they are bizarre.
Uh-huh.
They have pink guns, they have pink tasers, they have pink everything. Everything they have is pink. And they do their own bounty hunting. They own their own company, and they're very good. They're very good. They helped me on a big case that I had in Los Angeles years back, and they were instrumental in helping me catch this gentleman. And I paid them. They made good money. They made about 20 grand off me too. So I think they liked me too. So yeah.
Well, I think today, because of what's going out there with the guns and everything, I think they'll try to use the tasers like the cops tried to.
We do. Everybody's got a taser. And I've made so many arrests without any gun. I'd leave my gun. I'm like, I don't need a gun on this guy. And I would carry a taser and some pepper spray. And I've never had to taser anybody or pepper spray anybody because I guess I pepper sprayed a couple people, but you know, you get the drop on them. It's called getting the drop on them. You get them and you surprise them, and you know, they go with you. And my other guy that used to come, my partner, Tommy, he's 6'4", angry gentleman. He's a perfect bounty hunter to do your backup. They saw that guy there. They didn't want any part of him. He made me look small.
Hey, Vincent, if they saw you, look at your image.
Right. Yeah. No. And like I said, and he made, yeah.
What are you, 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah. I'm about 6 foot, 6'1". I think I've shrunk in age, but yeah, right around there.
And the body, and you're muscular and you're large. I mean, your image would make someone say, hey, I better listen to this guy. That's it.
Right. And most fugitives don't go to the gym 5 days a week and lift weights and you do all that other stuff. They're really, most of them are very, don't have a lot of ambition in life. And that's probably why they're in the situation they're in.
Uh-huh. If any member of your family wanted to get into something like that, would you say, hey, go forward, or no, don't even bother with it?
I'd say absolutely not. I have a 14-year-old son, and I would not tell him to get into the bail bonds business or I kind of, like I said, I wasn't stupid, but I guess I didn't pay attention in school. I screw off. That's it. That's what I was. So I defaulted to the bail bonds business and made a good living for my family for a long while. But there's definitely a lot more out there to do in the world that I would not recommend myself.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what's going on with your life, whether you want direction, when you're looking at the money and you want a job that you feel like you enjoy doing. Even it could be dangerous like you did. You got the thrill of it. And before you know it, 1 year goes by, 2 years, and the years build up, and it's 20 years. That's it.
That's I couldn't explain. That's exactly what happened. I didn't think I'd do this for 20 years. I thought it was a stepping stone for something else that I would do in life. But no, it didn't. You're right. The years just go by.
Yeah. But like I said, you don't hear anything. I could be wrong about a bounty hunter. I was talking to people and they said, excuse me, what did you say? I said, a bounty hunter. I'm going to have a bounty hunter on the show. Oh, we want to hear about it. Anything else that the job involved that you think that the people would be interested in hearing?
Well, the way we violate, let me take that back. I violated nobody's rights. Okay. No, I'm kidding. Because they signed, the defendant signs a document stating that he gives up all of his civil rights and that I have custody of him until his case is over. So there's nothing that I can't do to find him, pretty much. But the technology, I think the technology was always interesting, and how it got better through the years. I mean, we used to catch him by getting people's phone records, and then we would find the addresses to their phone records, because the cell phone wasn't, as prevalent in the 90s as it's grown. And so we would catch him that way. I mean,
well, listen, how did you get away with it where the cops need a warrant to get in and your profession, you don't need a warrant. You could go in. How did they go about doing something like that?
That when they sign our paperwork was very strong, that the insurance companies that back us, kind of, they guarantee the state if we can't pay a bond, they will, but it puts us out of business. But our paperwork was very strong, and we could do whatever to them that we wanted to find them, pretty much. I couldn't torture somebody.
Did you ever work out of the country at all, or just within the states? Yeah. Do they have bounty hunters out of the country?
Oh yeah. No, we've brought people back, and I do not speak Spanish, so I did not go down to Mexico, but I've brought people back from Mexico many of times. Oh gosh, I sent one of my guys to Russia to locate a lady that we sent there, and that was we didn't get her there, but she was there. She was dying, so they let us off in court, and we proved it through documents. And she was she was probably the oldest client I ever had. I think she was about in her early 80s. But her and her sister, her and her daughter were gypsies, and they'd steal all kinds of stuff. I mean, the gypsies in Los Angeles. I mean, there's definitely organized crime out there. It's not just what you see on the TVs, the mafia. I mean, there's we would deal with them all the time. I mean, there's the Chinese organized, I don't know if you want to call it mafia, but organized crime amongst the Chinese community, the gypsy community. The Russians played more games and stole stuff.
They all had that. I read that. I think England had a bounty hunter.
Yeah, they have the same setup. We're not the only country that did bail bonds. Yeah, England and Mexico, believe it or not, Mexico has their own bail system too. And and that's where Dead Dog got famous, where he was looking for, I believe it was Max Factor's heir, was wanted for raping gals, and he caught him in Mexico, and they arrested him in Mexico, and Dog got on CNN. And after Dog got on CNN, Dog got his own show. And I mean, he's made millions, and he's done such a great job. And he's actually, him and his wife did a great job for them. And God bless her soul for passing away. Beth, I was friends with both of them, and they're really good for our business. Yeah. They were president of ours. Believe it or not, we have association and conventions for bail bonds every year, which is always a good time, because a lot of storytelling, a lot of drinking, and they're in Vegas, so it's definitely a party.
If somebody 18 was interested in becoming a bounty hunter, do you think they could? Is that too young?
I believe it's 20. I think it's 21 now. And it all depends from state to state, and laws. I don't want to say are constantly changing, but they are changing. But absolutely, if I did it all over again, I'd do it again. It's just, I think it has its, just like any other, even like law enforcement. I have buddies that are cops for years, and they're like, I can't wait to retire. They're done dealing with knuckleheads too. It just gets to you after doing it for so long, and it's a negative. It's very negative. Nobody's really. I mean, my biggest mistake is always, and I could never stop doing it. I'd answer the phone. I'm like, I'd start talking to me. I'm like, how you doing today? I'm like, why can I not stop saying that? Because they're talking to me about bailing out their kids. So I know how they're doing. They're not doing good at all. So it's definitely very negative.
Oh yeah, definitely. It isn't one of the positive professions around. Definitely not. But now the transition that you went to, how did that take place now from one profession to the other? How was that created?
Well, there's, excuse me. Here's actually a kind of a story behind that I just found out about a year ago. My wife's brother owns a mortgage company in Colorado. And she saw how much, I guess I never really told her that I hated what I was doing. But anyway, she told him to get me in the mortgage business. He called me one day, flattered me, told me he thought I was always so smart, and he knew I'd do great at anything. But would I please help him out and join him? The whole time my wife told him to do this, but which I thank her for. But I got into the mortgage. Yeah, now I'm a mortgage broker in Nevada and Colorado.
What a switch and what a transition that is. Oh my God.
I make the joke a lot of times because people ask me, I go, well, I went from clients that have a 300 credit score to people that have 800 credit score. I'm just the complete opposite of what I'm used to dealing with. And I have never argued with one of my mortgage clients or had to threaten to arrest them. So it's been nice. It's a nice transition.
You're working with your lady,
Yes.
which is good.
She's great. She's very good. Yes.
And I know you got some type of an award. Right?
Yes, we were the fastest closing mortgage company in the United States, based on one of the lenders that at least through their company, and they're the biggest in the United States. So yeah, it's a very nice award, and well worth it. And we work really hard, and my wife works really hard. She's one of those people that just, she just, until it's finished, she doesn't care about tomorrow. So it definitely makes us quick because she's.
I applaud both of you, that's for sure. But from one lifestyle into a completely different, tranquil, really lifestyle, that is phenomenal. That is something. I mean, do you honestly, I know the first job was dangerous, this is completely different. Do you miss, honestly, the little thrill of that? Do you ever get bored in what you're doing now?
I don't get bored because it doesn't leave me any time to be bored, but slightly confrontational. So, you know what I mean? I think I get my fair share of getting my, grinding my gears on my own. It's unprovoked by people. I'm not like crazy or scream at people, but I don't like rude people, and I will make it known that you're being rude to me, and I'm not going to be, you're not going to be rude to me. So I get my fair share of it. Yeah. So I'm okay. Yeah.
I just think you should do a book on this because it's, like I said, it's unique. It's very unique. And it isn't that competitive compared to other professions. I mean, you have a few bounty hunters and everything. But I mean, everybody's doing books today, and sometimes it's redundant,
Right.
the same thing over and over again. But this is.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even. I mean, and there was. I chased a guy for a year, and that if I would ever really think,
You chased him for a year?
Chased him for almost a year. Yeah, we found him murdered in Mexico. As his girlfriend had him killed. Because she was it was $1 million bond, and I was short. Oh gosh, this is where I had my great experience with the Russians. Had put up property, and I had notaries that notarized documents that weren't really notarized. And I mean, I had to hire a forensic handwriting expert.
Yeah, I was going to say, how can you tell that? You have to have an expert really examine those things.
I pay this guy $5,000, right? My lawyer's like, hey, this guy's the best. He's San Diego County retired handwriting forensic expert. So I'm sitting there in a deposition. My lawyer's, and this is 2001 or so. And my lawyer's $300 an hour, 2001. And I sat there for a deposition for 4 hours to have a guy write his name 100 different ways. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what we do. Inconclusive, the guy that I paid $5,000 to says, I can't tell. I'm like, what? You can't tell? So I was like, well, what? So anyways, I found that to be pretty funny. But I was not happy because I was like $500,000 light on collateral. And it was not going to be a good day. And we found him murdered in Mexico, and it was just crazy all the way around. And if it wasn't for my other friend in Sacramento, his name's Leonard Padilla, and he had his own TV show, and he's probably the best, but he was the best bounty hunter in the world. He had a friend down in Mexico that was an undercover FBI agent. Mm-hmm. And he went down and positively identified him and took fingerprints of him before they cremated him. They were about to cremate him in 2 days. So here I am. My guy's dead. I'm like, great, we got him. We're done with the bond. I don't mean great, he's dead, but that's, dead or alive. That's the deal. So he fingerprinted him, and we got relief from the bond, but I cried. Oh, I cried in court. I did. I broke out in tears. I mean, it took so much of my time, and it consumed me for so long. And
It takes a lot out of you.
Oh
Very
my,
draining.
oh, and then the worst thing about it is I had him in Laughlin. He was a biker guy, third striker, and he was holding up Home Depots in LA, and he was going away forever. And I had him. I'm over at the security guard wouldn't let us. The security wouldn't let us stay on the property at. I think this is the Colorado Bell. So I'm next door in binoculars. I see him at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm up all night. My guy's inside undercover, and the gal knows what I look like. So I'm wearing a stupid wig, so she doesn't know, because I know he's going to meet his girlfriend. They're all heroin addicts. It was crazy. And I'm running through the parking lot. By the time I get him, he was in the casino, and all Metro air helicopters. We had everybody there looking for the guy, and he snuck through us and took off to Mexico. And she admitted in a deposition that she funded the whole thing, and that he mysteriously fell on a table on the side of his head and killed him. Which I think she had ties with the Vagos, which is a biker, kind of a pretty popular biker gang. I don't know if they did. I don't want to hey Vagos this on TV. I'm not saying you did it, but it didn't look like he fell on a table. When you saw the pictures, the autopsy pictures that they had in the courtroom, it looks like somebody. The judge even commented in the Los Angeles courts that said, because he looks like he was beat with a baseball bat. It didn't look like he fell on a table. So,
oh my heavens!
And that was just that whole investigation just was insane. It took me. I bailed people out of jail that I didn't know that said that they knew him. I mean, I was going after anything I could possibly do to find this guy, and it was pretty crazy. They were a huge organized crime group out of the valley that what would they do? They would rip off people's mailboxes, and and they had a fake charity, so they would sit out in front of the things and ring the bell. I think they were the Blue Bucket Group. Give me money and they were just ripping people off, because we did surveillance, and we actually snuck through their whole entire operation. And it was
you were so lucky that when you got done with your jobs, that people didn't go after you per se. Maybe
a lot of threats. That's right.
I've been or something like that.
Yeah. I know I've had my life threatened many of times, and those Vagos supposedly, because one guy wanted to get paid. I'm like, you didn't catch him. I'm not paid. I mean, when we caught him, everybody sent me a bill. When we found him dead in Mexico, everybody wanted a piece. And one guy supposedly, I'd heard years later that the Vagos were going to beat me up, but he must not have given him enough money.
That's it. Job goes on.
Yeah, they let me go.
Like I said, you took yourself from a negative life into a very positive.
Yeah, it is. It is. People are very happy.
And it worked out well.
It did.
For that.
Yes. Thank God. I didn't get hurt too bad financially over this whole time.
You're happy now, and it was quite an experience, something that you will never forget.
That is for sure.
You'll be telling these stories forever and ever and ever. That's for sure. Like I said, you have a great personality. You're very vivacious, and like I said, talking to you, and if I didn't know you, and you told me what you did do, I'd say, guy is so nice and so friendly, but that's the other side of him that he had.
This is the side I prefer to smile. That is for sure. I do prefer to smile.
Of course, I understand. Especially today, we try to be as happy as we can with our crazy world out there, right?
Yes.
And how do you feel about what's going on out there now?
Well, I think a lot of
what's going on in our world.
Right. I don't think anybody could have foreseen, or it's crazy. I don't know who to trust anymore.
Everything's like a question mark, right?
Right. It's like what? But because when things change too much, it's hard to say, okay, you guys know what you're doing, because it's just everything's all the information I get is inconsistent. So I don't really spend a lot of time. I don't spend any time watching any kind of political TV or anything like that. I read the paper, and and I try to sift through that as well as I can, and just,
Because everything's so inconsistent. I know.
everything. You look at one paper, and I mean, I used to think the LA Times was the gospel, and now I don't know if I feel quite that way anymore about the LA Times. And
everybody has their own opinion of
right,
and everything like that. But listen, Vincent, you are a delight.
Well, thank you.
I thank you for being on my show, Between Takes, Channel 36, WeHo Hollywood. And like I said, I've been doing this show for years and years and years, and I try to get interesting individuals on like you. And that's why you're here today with us. But
Well,
thank you ever so much. A real pleasure. Okay. And I have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care. I think you're fabulous.
Thank you. Bye-bye.